Hey everybody, I don't know why it looks so green right now. It makes me feel like I'm in a hospital and I'm sickly, but I feel fine. And my hair is doing its own little thing, as per usual. Oh, that reminds me, somebody left a comment on one of my videos about how I get my hair to be so shiny, I think it was. I really can't tell you. I've always had this kind of hair that just kind of does its own little thing and has some sheen to it. But some of the products that I use are shampoo-wise, Paul Mitchell, Bedhead, Biolage, things of that nature. And I use a lot of the Chi items and things like that as far as blow drying my hair and straightening it. I even use Garnier Fructis Sleek and Shine serum. I just do like a pump or a pump and a half and mix it in with the other products that I'm using. I haven't been able to find that lately. I don't know if it got discontinued and I have like that much left, so it makes me kind of depressed. And I tend to wash or condition my hair. Well, I wash and condition it, and then a lot of times I'll take cold water and then I'll just splash that on my hair and rinse it with that. So that's all I got for you. Okay, kind of off topic. So what I wanted to talk to you guys about. If you saw on my Facebook, then you know that something crazy happened to me and I was really excited about, or excited to vlog about it. I cannot speak this evening. I don't know what my problem is. So here's what happened. September 11th was the 1-year anniversary of my grandfather's passing away. Well, when I got home from work, I called my Aunt Karen and I pulled one of the director's chairs that's on my porch outside to the driveway because I don't get service. I don't have very good service when it comes to inside of my house because the walls are completely concrete. I'm guessing that's what it is. So I barely get a signal. It takes me about 10 minutes to text message one person. It's frustrating as all get out. So I was sitting outside where I do get surface. We were talking, and we probably talked for about 45 minutes. And the whole time, I'm staring across the street. Fall is my favorite time of the year, and I'm just watching this tree and the leaves just blow back and forth. It was absolutely beautiful. And it was starting to get dark, so I could look up and gaze at the stars. And we were just talking about my life, her life, everybody's life in our family. And I made the comment, well, I asked her if she had had any dreams about Granddad, and she told me that she only had one when he passed away about 2 months after he had died. And I told her how I had dreams pretty frequently with him in it, but it was never anything to me meaningful. It was always just very ordinary. We would be hanging out or talking, and it was just nothing ever very graphic. And I've had lots of graphic dreams about my mother, so I'm glad and surprised that I haven't had that about my grandfather yet. So long story short, this is kind of a long story. She's telling me about this day that she has set aside to concentrate on my grandfather's estate because he nominated her as the executrix of his estate and everything. So she is told by the attorney that she has to find a certain document. He needs that to go forward with the paperwork. So she's looking all over, cannot find it. She thinks, okay, well, maybe it's in the lockbox that Granddad gave me, because I haven't gone in it since he passed away. So she goes into the lockbox, she finds his wallet, and she's looking through pictures of the grandkids, me being one of them, and the family, and his driver's license, and she starts to get a little emotional and cry, and she just has a little moment to think about him, because she and I both haven't really had a lot of time to grieve his death since everything happened. And I know it seems like I have with my constant vlogs and things like that, but I had to move and start full-time with my job and everything so quickly that it's almost weird to process the fact that he's really gone. I understand that he is, but I just haven't had time to be like, ah! So this was her day to do that. So she found the document that she needed. She went into her daughter's room, my cousin, and she starts getting on the computer and starts typing up a letter to the attorney so she can fax that and the document that he needs. Well, while she's doing this, she hears a noise, and it sounds like it's coming from the bathroom that's in the hallway. And it sounds like, she described it as someone took the toilet seat and slammed it down to make a really loud bang. So she called out my other cousin's name, who was home at the time, and she was upstairs. So she didn't make the noise. So my aunt called out my uncle's name, and he was in the bedroom or in the office or something, so he didn't do it. So she calls them both in, says, did you hear that? They say yes, and they're looking everywhere to see what fell inside and outside that could have made that noise. So she kind of just, at the end of the day, since they didn't figure it out, she figured that it was Granddad saying, stop your crying, it's going to be okay, just do what you need to get done and go on. Well, I was telling her, I would love to have a sign like that, because that kind of stuff never happens to me. I never really feel as though he was there thinking about me at that moment. And she was like, well, I would trade those kind of freaky moments for a dream. And I was like, well, maybe you'll get a dream tonight since we talked about that. So we get off the phone, I come inside, and I'm on the computer, and I'm on Facebook chat, and I'm talking to my friend, and he's like, well, what do you plan on doing tonight? And I had just decided that I was going to go into the hallway closet and pull out some photo albums and have a moment to be upset and stuff like that. And I'm not kidding. As soon as I hit enter, the power went out. The entire power to my house went out, and I didn't know what to do. So because I don't have very good service in my house, and because it was dark outside, I was like, okay, I'm going to have to use my phone to look around. I can't find a lighter. I don't have a flashlight. What am I going to do? I text one of my best friends, and he says, call the power company. So that's what I do. Pfft, of course, I wouldn't have thought of that. And they say, okay, well, the power is out in your neighborhood, but someone's going to be sent to fix it. I'm like, okay, great. So the friend that I'm talking to on Facebook, I text message him and ask him if he wants to go out for dinner because I haven't eaten yet, and it's pushing 9 o'clock. Well, he says yes, so I dress completely in the dark. I probably looked a fool. And I walk out of my house. Well, there's a cop car with the lights on in front of my house. And I'm like, oh shit, what the hell is going on? So I walk out to the cop car and I look up and I realize the tree that I was looking at when I was talking to my aunt on the phone, one of the big branches from that tree fell onto a power line in front of my house. So I'm like, is that what made the power go out? And the cop was like, yeah, kind of freaky because it wasn't storming or anything. Okay, yeah, that is a little freaky. I mean, it was blowing. It's autumn here, but it wasn't storming or anything. So I started thinking about it. I was like, oh my God, that's my sign. Granddad was telling me, don't go into the hallway closet. Do not mourn my death. Get out of the house. Go be with your friends and do something. So that made me really happy, and weirded out. So I call my Aunt Karen, and I'm like, oh my God, you're never going to believe this. And I tell her the whole story, and she goes, oh wow. So I was like, yes, and maybe that means you'll have a dream about him tonight. Well, we get off the phone. I'm heading to the restaurant to meet my friend, and when I get there, my cousin calls me. And she goes, Matt, you're never going to believe this, but I'm not kidding. As soon as you got off the phone, Mom went out to the kitchen, and she started unloading the dishes and things, and she started to cry, and she started to be upset. So I told her, it's going to be okay, it's going to be okay. And so that's when my aunt gets back on the phone. And she's like, Matthew, I'm not kidding. As soon as I started crying, the doorbell rang. I was like, the doorbell rang? Well, who was there? And she goes, no one. And Abby, my cousin, she was like, no one was there. And Sam was looking at the door. Sam's their cat. Someone rang the doorbell or something rang the doorbell, but there was no one there. And it, of course, got my Aunt Karen to stop crying. So there was another sign that my granddad was like, God damn it, stop crying. Because that's totally what he would say. Whenever I would get upset while he was dying, he'd be like, don't you start crying and stuff like that. So he wasn't being mean, but he just didn't want anybody to mourn his death. He wanted people to celebrate his life. So, craziness, right? Well, let me hurry up because I've got less than a minute left. So, fast forward to the next morning, yesterday morning. My Aunt Karen calls me and she tells me that she had a dream about Granddad. And she told me that that was the first time she had a dream since he died, except for the one that happened 2 months afterwards. And it was totally vivid. I talked to my other cousin today, and she told me that she also had a dream about Granddad last night. Not last night, the night before, excuse me. And she has never had a dream about him. And she's never had, like, vivid dreams to where she could remember faces and places and things like that. And she did, and it involved my grandfather. So, if I was ever a non-believer before, I'm totally a believer now, but I have been. So, I just think that that's so cool. I guess some people would get freaked out, but I feel very in tune with the cosmic and spiritual world out there, and I truly feel like my grandfather was trying to contact me and tell me to shut the hell up and be happy. So, that's what I'm going to do. to the best of my ability. Okay, bye!